talks about a couple of amazing athletes there. And another one, obviously, that's quite well publicised that you work with, Dusty Martin, and you arrived in 2016 and then he was in some unbelievable, terrifying form in 2017. What was it that gave him the extra edge that year?
Dusty's a champion. Like, if I'd never met Dusty, Dusty probably would still have all those awards and everything else. He's just unbelievable. But, he himself will say he had a very noisy mind. So when he had the ball in his hand, it's just very noisy, and that leads to you just getting rid of the ball quickly and doing this and doing that. Dusty, as opposed to the story that I just told about Scott, Dusty didn't have or Dylan, Dusty didn't have a particular thing in his subconscious mind that was holding him back. Dusty more traditionally went through the process of learning how to become very present in the moment. And full credit to Dusty, and this is always my experience when I work with a group of people, you will see some people that take what you teach them and they just go on their own journey. You'll see some who take what you teach them and that's great and I'll use it. And you'll see some that resist it. And full credit to Dusty. Dusty took what he was learning from me and became really curious about it because I think it made him feel better and went on his own. Certainly in 2017, we worked together every week, but he expanded that journey with books and meeting other people and going further into this concept of being present. George Mumford, who was the mindfulness coach for Chicago Bulls in the era of Michael Jordan, he has a saying which is pay attention like your life is depending on it. It's your ability to fully pay attention to what am I seeing? The ball, the opposition, I'm seeing that, I'm feeling that, I'm noticing this. The athlete that can pay attention better than someone else is always going to, if they've both done same level of fitness, which most AFL athletes are, right?
Yeah.
They're all in great fitness programs. The athlete that can hold their attention in the present moment is going to get more information. And so what we see is Dusty's a freak of an athlete. And when we get him present in that moment, it goes to a level which is, unbelievable. Now, we've also watched his journey is really interesting because he wins all those awards. And this is what we need to understand about pressure and expectation. And now in your mind, it's like, what now? What happens now? And that expectation to continue to be that good. Well, what if I can't? What if I don't win this? And now I'm stepping out on a ground going, I'm the Norm Smith medalist, the Brownlow medalist, the this or that. I've got to do something here. So again, that human wiring kicks in. As soon as expectation kicks in, human wiring does, of fear and what if, and I have to, and I should, and I need to. And Dusty's still a human. So we see him go to these heights in 2017. We see him still amazing in 2018, but why is he not exactly the same? Well, he has a whole new level of expectation and pressure on him. So now he effectively has to learn mindfulness all over again at a whole new level.
Yeah. I was going to say, it doesn't just stop, does it? Just because you've learned some of those tricks, that's not where it ends.
No, I get this stuff wrong. I get this stuff wrong more than I get it right. I spend way more time in my B game than I do in my A game, and I'm teaching this and learning this every day. So no, this is a life journey, and that's why Dusty's story is so, interesting and important. Is when you reach a certain level, it's not like now I'm at that level, I stay at that level. It's like now there's new expectation that I've got new fears, I've got new stresses, I've got new worries and a new noise in my head. And now I've got to restart at the base of the mountain. Dylan Grimes said that to me one day, sitting opposite me in a desk, and I think he nearly threw something at me. And he said, I feel like I was nearly at the top of Mount Everest, and what you have just said to me, I'm at the base and I have to start all over again. I'm like,
and I'm exhausted. And
and I don't want to do that. I thought I had this thing, I thought I had this mastered. It's like, no.
What are a few things people listening to this can do to improve their own mindset besides getting stuck into the John West Protein Plus range?
We hear a lot about meditation, and for a lot of people, they would love to be able to do that, and then they make the decision to do it, and then they fail at it, and then they think, that's another thing I'm hopeless at. So if you are watching this or listening to this and you are not a meditator, don't set yourself the task to meditate. I want you to set yourself the task to get a breathing routine into your life. The breath routine that I would recommend the listeners is a breath routine called Take 5. And that Take 5 breath routine is as simple as we breathe in for the count of 5, we hold for the count of 5, and we breathe out for the count of 5. And we repeat that 5 times. Aim to punctuate your day with this breath routine. So you wake up and you either do it lying in bed or you do it in your morning shower. In for 5, hold for 5, out for 5, repeat it 5 times. Try and do it before you eat a meal, because we're just eating in this fight and flight and we're not tasting it. And before we know it, we've eaten a whole cheese platter and a bottle of wine. And, it's like, how did that happen?
Sounds like me last night.
So before you eat a meal, it will help your digestion, but it will also help regulate what you're about to eat. And before you go to bed. Okay, so now we're taking out the rubbish a few times a day with our Take 5 breath routine. But if I'm in a performance moment, like I've got to go into a meeting, I've got to go into a presentation, I'm in the rooms before I play a football match, then we can use it in that moment as well to dial down that fight and flight response. So that Take 5 breathing, it can change it. Will Pekoski talks about this a lot, bringing a daily breath routine that was not much more complicated than that, and having a breath routine when he walked onto the pitch and between balls, like life-changing. Wow. Like he will tell you it literally changed his life.
Is he thinking about anything while he's in that moment?
Okay, so this is why you have to count.
Yeah.
Because I cannot count and think about getting out, or I can't count and think, yeah. So it's very important to count, and it's very important on that out breath. What I have the athletes do is soften. So they soften their jaw, they take their tongue off the roof of their mouth, they soften their shoulders, and they soften their hands. And the other thing, I think we've been talking about Dusty. Dusty taught me this. My program, High Performance Mindfulness, is now online courses that you can literally, there's one for sport, there's one for corporates, there's one for education, but you can literally, the modules take you through these steps. And one of the steps is around acceptance. Now, that's Dusty's step. Dusty taught me acceptance. So Dusty, whenever we had sessions at the club, he would say to me, until I accept that I can't be the superstar all the time, I can't win the game all the time, I can't calm down and get present, because that story was so loud in him, like, do something special, win the game, the team needs you, That's so loud. Trying to get your attention off that, your attention just wants to go back to it. Now, your story might be, what if I muck up and my work colleagues think I'm hopeless? What if I ask that question and they think it's terrible? What if I muck up this shot at golf? Like, it doesn't have to be on Dusty's level. Yeah. Any thought can pull us out of the present moment. So Dusty would say to me, until I really have acceptance that it's okay, I might not be the superstar. I might not win this game for them. It's only when I accept that I can come off it. And so that's now one of the steps in high performance mindfulness, but it was the step that changed Scott McLaughlin's whole career, because his was like, what if another car takes me out? What if because there's so many uncontrollables. So once he dropped into acceptance of, I might lose, I might get taken out, I might fail in this race. Once he truly accepted that, that's when the fear disappears, and that's when your mind, it feels safe enough to be present and not warn you of all this stuff. So acceptance and that breath would be my takeouts.
Emma, thanks so much for joining us on The Inside Game. That's all we have time for today. Emma has shared some great insights into the importance of mindset and how the right approach can take elite sports people to another level, but also how it can make a difference in everyday life.